Alright, got my boy back on the channel again.
What's good, Randy?
Bro?
What's
What's up
good,
with you
Randy?
in these boxing case tournaments, bro?
Getting top 8 and losing.
It is what it is, bro.
Yeah.
Consistent, though.
Yeah, I guess. I played Maliss. This is my 3rd tournament with it. The deck is... It's not fun to learn on the fly. Quick shoutouts to Rennie. I'll always do Rennie first.
Yeah.
Shout out to iGrind. Shout out to the channel.
Yeah.
Shout out to Damien for... shout out Damien years ago. Shout out Casey for kicking me out in top 8. Casey, when you see this, I really don't like you. But you're good. Shout out Brian. Shout out Jason. Shout out Jay. Shout out all the people from Southwest Florida. Shout out Ricky for talking to me about this. Shout out Danny. Shout out, I know I'm missing somebody, man. Shout out Matt. He ain't here, but shout out Matt. Shout out Anthony.
Brian.
Brian. I said Brian. No, I didn't say Brian. Shout out Brian. And shout out Wyatt. Shout out Rob. Shout out the whole group. Shout out, I know I'm missing somebody. I'm fucked up for it. But yeah, I played Maliss. I played 41 cards, I believe. It's kind of close to, excuse me if I say this wrong, Jib's list. The guy that won 11-0 in Anaheim. I based it off of that list. I changed up a certain card choices. My side is where I would change a lot of cards. But this is almost, I think, card for card his list. So I play for the different engines. It's just the 1-dot-scaper for the red ransom. I didn't draw this at all today, no, I drew it once and it won me the game because it was my only like normal summon that got back a monster by itself. So it was really good. This card alone makes me kind of want to play Signet Mining. I don't play it, but I really like the idea of Signet Mining if I were to play like more extenders, but I don't. The other engine is 3 Bastiles. They all have their own reasoning. This is the best one if I draw Shifter because it tributes, like the tributing to banish like the sequence or something or the duo drive. They normally just Exit Knight you, but a play I did today was I tributed a monster I controlled, and then we were at equal cards, so we couldn't chain Exit Knight. Then I banished the Exit Knight, so I used 2 materials for no reason. This is good going second into cross and out of Shifter because you do like Chainlink 1 target that, Chainlink 2 target that, so they have to get rid of it. But I didn't negate a single duo drive today, so shout out to the imperms in my deck that I didn't know were in my deck. For the FTK, this card, I don't. It's weird. It works really good against the Fiendsmith Cash deck because the only cards you're really afraid of is the Fiendsmith cards. Like, Unicorn's scary for the extra deck rip, but I mean, if you just shifter them their turn and you have like imperm for the Unicorn, like the game's over. Or like the other cards that I play, like the Chalice, not the Chalice, the Widowmaker, Book of Eclipse, anything to just stop it. Like, you're really not afraid of that. The things you're most afraid of is the Fiendsmith cards. I was in between maining this in the last tournament I played, and I put this in the side and mained Droplet, but I knew that a lot more people would be on the Fiendsmith Cash deck, so this was way better to main. Shout out to, again, I didn't know it was in my deck today, except against Carlos. For the I guess the deck itself, it's 3 Chessie, 3 Dormouse, 3 White Rabbit. I always side out a Chessie going into any game. It's not like it's definitely the worst one. It's the greedy one. But I like post side. It's like also really good because you could draw on they don't really respect this card, and the draws you get, I've drawn like just the craziest stuff off this card. Dormouse is really, I guess, the best standalone one, I would say. You really want this one to go through. This one is the safest one, I feel like setting the trap if they don't respect that. And then you activate the trap and they don't have like the Ash or something. If they waste the Ash on that, then you have like, Allure or anything else. It's really good. I wouldn't change these at all. I think 3 Chessie is necessary unless you're playing Signet Mining. Then you can go down to like 1 Chessie, 3 of these, and then like some tech cards or whatever. I didn't play any hand traps other than the Shifter and the card that's coming up. Then the last of the Malice cards other than the Field Spell. 3 of these. I see why people would play more of them, but I mean, I really don't like to draw them. I drew this one way more than I would want to. I like setting this one off White Binder, but I drew it way too often, so I never really got to do that, or I had to use it to extend because my hand was pretty bad. But we're here, so those are pretty good. This is the only other hand trap if you don't want to count the Bastiles that I play. Bastiles are really extenders, so I wouldn't count them. This card's the best. You just let them do whatever, unless they're playing Raziel and you want to hit their duo drive, you just imperm it. But other than that, you could save the imperm for their They're dried on light on ×5, and you should be good unless they play like the whole thruster. Then I mean, I lost the whole thruster because I'm not supposed to play around that garbage ass fucking card. I'm just mad. And then for my 1-up spells, I'm taking this out, call by, taking this out, Gold Sark, taking this out, Terraforming. I like this card. Triple Tactics Talents. I saw this way more than I should have today, and it makes me want to play 2. This card is really good. So this card's just really good in general. These cards, I didn't see them once. I saw this when the game was over anyways. It's weird because these are really good if it's the Striker engine, because you know their spells engrave, and I resolved engage to draw like twice today. And it was like it won me the game because I'm just adding more cards, but I might change these for either Ashes so I don't lose to Fuwalos, or Fuwalos when I lose the die roll, but this deck is really good. Or like for siding patterns, like it might be 2 Nib and a Fuwalo, like just something, I don't know, it's just something so I can side the 3 cross out, because my side, you guys would hate me, my side's terrible, but I realize that now. I learned the way. I hate these cards though. I didn't draw them like, I don't hate them because they're bad. I hate them because they have no experimentation and no, like, in theory they're good, but I didn't need them at all today. Like, maybe it's the 2 cross out call by thing that I do. They were okay. Like, they didn't do anything today. For the GOAT engine, I do play, unfortunately. I played 2 of this. This card is nuts. In top 8, I was playing it. I would have won a game against my top 8 opponent, i.e. Casey, but off the first engage draw, I drew the Widowmaker. Like, I searched Widowmaker, and then I searched Hornet Jones because I already activated Widowmaker, and I drew no the other Widowmaker, and then this was dead, and I had no cards to play with. But other than that, one time this whole tournament, these cards give you 2 monsters. Lizardos is generic, so if they like negate your summon or anything like that, you make the Lizardos, banish them, make the guy any of them, because they're generic with a Maliss monster, and the Maliss links don't need effect monsters, so they're really, 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 really broken. I don't think the cash cards are better than this. The cash cards are better if you think your opponent draws every single hand trap known to mankind, and the cash cards are better going first. I would say they're better going first. Only Unicorn. Honestly, only Unicorn's a better card going first. I don't care about the rest of those cards going first. But yeah, I would never take these out. I added the second Widowmaker because Heavy Red Detonator. I hate that card. It's Ryzeal is a rich man's Tempai. And then the other set of engages, 3 Allure. This card's crazy. No one's on. Only the Fiendsmith cash deck is on draw, and you have Shifter for like half their deck. So Shift is an FTK. This card's insane. 3 cards that you play at the end of your combos. I learned that later throughout the tournament that I just don't want to. I didn't look up any testing. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys like this. It's a complicated deck. I didn't respect how tough this deck was, and I did no testing. I just spoke theory to people, and I hoped I remembered it.
Yeah, no, I think the more you also play it, you start getting it.
Yeah, because Bear, shout out Bear. They were he was telling me about a line with Engage and Any Name, or specifically Dormouse. It's like a full combo. And I mean, it didn't happen like once today, but my Engage got ashed every time. It was the first card I played because people thought I was in top tables with Sky Striker. Thank you for respecting me, but no, Sky Striker's not that good. So yes, this card is really good to save. It's just good, and that's why I don't want to play Gold Sark. This is just Gold Sark, but as a field spell, it could banish from grave as well. So if your links get like impermed, or you can make some garbage link 4, then you could banish it out of grave and then do something. That never really happened, but it was gonna happen once, but then my opponent scooped, so I didn't have to do any of that thinking. And then the last card, Book of Eclipse. This card got ashed way more than I would like for it to happen, but this card is insane. If Ryzeal don't have Ash, they can't get their guys back unless they pop it and they have the plug-in. But if you, in theory, stop it with Imperm, then they don't have plug-in, or they hard drew it and then they have 1 less hand trap. This card is insane. I don't see why any Maliss deck would not play this. This card, I would never change this card. I'm keeping this card in. That's it for the main deck. I believe it's 41. I don't want to mislead you. Then, I mean, just every deck profile has their tokens, I guess. And then there is, we'll do side first. So the sideboard makes, these worked more than I would like for people. This worked. It did what it needed to. This is my playthrough Lancia. This plays through Lancia. It doesn't beat Lancia. This deck can't beat Lancia. So I have call by. I didn't see it all today. This beats Lancia. It loses harder to Perulia because you only give them one draw normally with Perulia. Even with Flawless, there's some lines where you give them one draw. And this card was amazing. It makes a lot, like this deck, you have to think a lot. This makes a lot of the games that you have to think about take a lot less thinking. I know I said think a lot, but it's just, if you have one normal summon and this, it's full combo. Like it's ridiculous. This card's insane. I want to main this card sometimes, but I don't know. I'm thinking about like those 3 cards, taking these out and putting them in the main, and then siding the cards that I was talking about. But I wouldn't take this out for anything. This is the card that I didn't know. I found out like later on during the tournament that the Fiendsmith Cash was the more popular variant, but I still respected the pure YZL deck enough to keep this in. I didn't side it in once today. I'm taking this card's terrible. Don't do it. I tried it. I'm here, guys, to tell you with the striker cards, it's pretty good, but if you're hyper fixating on the draw for 3 spells, you're already kind of losing, so just don't do it. It was good. It was good in theory. If everybody was playing pure Izeal, this would be better than, I think, the shifter, but nobody here does that in South Florida, so you could take this out if your locals or area. Ooh, if your area is like that. Sorry. Standard, these cards are insane. I like to play 6 copies of FTK. So this is good against the other deck. If they lance to you, you barrier them, and then we're all like one big happy family of not playing the game. We spend all this money to pass each other's turns. It's nuts. There's no other thrust targets really. Like there's really no other thrust targets. Thrust is really just because like, have you read Detonator? Like I'm getting that on a t-shirt. This card. Again, in theory, it's really good against the, again, I'm not taking this out. I just didn't draw it as often. I drew it when the game was already over. Like, I drew this when my hand was literally full combo, and I ended on a board I didn't even know the deck could make. And then I had this barrier, Book of Eclipse, and this barrier, Imperm, Book of Eclipse. Like, what are they doing? You know, the game's over. I would not take this card out, though. It's really crazy. I almost want to main it, but it sucks. And I read it wrong, so I have no brain. That's the side deck. I would only change depending on if the main gets changed. These 6, sorry. These have to be a cross out and 2 cross out call by. And Nib, Lancia Fualos, or like figure out a way to main deck them to where I can side other cards. But 100%, this needs to, these are cross out, call by. Because I'm taking the call back to main. For the extra, it's pretty standard. I play these 2. Some people ask me why I play this card. I summoned every card in the extra deck today, like when they needed to be summoned. This card, it's okay to end on this card by itself. I ended on this card a lot. When you play Protect Code Talker, because then you banish any of the Malisses, normally White Binder, to draw a card, and then this is pointing. It's like this on there, like EMZ, this, and then White Binder, like somewhere over here. This gives Firewall a bounce. This lets you play on their turn, and then against the Fiendsmith Cash deck, when you do, since this is a quick effect, because Firewall pass, I know it's a meme, but I did it a bunch of times today and it won me the game. On special summon, she's a soul release, but 3 instead of 5. So you just hit Engraver, Requiem, and Lacrima or whatever the other life you want. The game's over. Like they just scoop up their cards. This happened like 2 or 3 times today. Like it's not like a theory. It happened too many times. That card's the GOAT. That was the best combo I resolved today. Access Code, obviously. I think this card's insane. Access Code Sister. Like it's really, this card actually is really, it's not terrible. It's just not that great. But it's good with Access Code. It makes a simplified OTK where you don't have to think, because in this deck you're trying to overthink a lot for some reason, and you just don't need to do that. The other 2 links, this is honestly like when you don't see. I know the field spell is like subpar kind of ish, but this one's so good, and it's Dotscaper Turbo. This card's nuts. This card's really good. This is the best one. You know, the soul release, really good. Again, you kind of learn how to play through the tournament, like Rennie said, and that's what happened with me. If you want to pick up this deck and you're comfortable with a combo deck, just play it at locals. You'll learn where you're missing. You have to get your ass beat to understand this deck if you don't understand this deck, and that's what happened. And again, I taught every locals that I would have played at because this deck's ignorant. Like, this deck is really dumb. Protect Attacker prevents your guys from being targeted. Your Link 4 or higher monsters. It doesn't have to point to them, and they can't be destroyed by battle. This card is only, be honest with you, it's only here for these. And it is a 2300 code talker or Link monster for Link Decoder. I don't know names. This was the least summoned card because you get locked into Cybers, but it's like I would take this out for maybe Link Spider. It's a hot take, but I've never summoned this card offensively or defensively. I don't play IP, so a lot of people will be like, oh, you don't play IP, and I don't play Link Spider. I don't know what other people like. I think some people don't play the Firewall if they play both IP and Link Spider, or I really think IP is just made for the cash deck. It's really good in the cash deck. Don't get me wrong. The IP is really good in the cash deck because you end on like Fenrir IP, no deck is killing you, and Birth, no deck is killing you this format. You know, it's like that's a fair assessment of a board. I don't play that. This locks you, so half the time I'm not summoning a warrior anyways, and I already banished enough cards out of their grave, and Lizardos does the same thing, but unfortunately, this is not an on-summon effect. So it happened maybe once this tournament where this was necessary because I needed it to be an on-summon effect, and it can help you dodge Nib. Like, you can banish this, banish something else. And that is also really good. IP never came up though because you have an IP in this shit. In the main, I didn't play Code of Soul, so again, that's another reason why I didn't. I mean, Code of Soul only makes like Link 3s or higher. This card is really good. Unfortunately, you just Nib Turbo. This card loses to it, but it really comes up because this is a water. You have 4 links to banish off of access code. Water, fire. 3 links. Water, fire, dark, and light. But that never happened. Last cards are Kagari. I think this is my most summoned one because of Engage. Link Decoder. This card says, if this card is sent to the graveyard to summon a Cybers Link monster with 2300 or more original attack. I thought it had to be 23, but it's not. This card is insane. It is, when you're, I think Casey won. Shout out to Casey again. I hate you.
Shout out to Casey, man.
Lingeribo. This negated a trap once. Didn't matter. It was just an annoying trap. I don't play this and then play my turns. Like, my hands are never really that broken, but this card, it's necessary. 2 link ones, I think is the proper way to go. If you play more, like, I don't. Some people, maybe I could take this out for a Link Spider, but I'm just gonna respect Nib more in my side and not in my extra. And then the last 2 cards. I like what Jib said. He played Aggregator for sighting patterns because of Ultimate Slayer. Ultimate Slayer will make the Rizio matches a lot easier, and I'm going to invest in that. But unfortunately, let me see the camera. Casey's borrowing my aggregators, and he used it against me. And he used bonfires against me. He should have entered this tournament with a 37-card deck, but I said, you know what? Let me not do my dog Casey.
You gonna
like
be the
that.
good guy, right?
I'm gonna be the good guy. And
Casey's in finals.
yeah, shout out to Casey, man. If anything gets cut out, make sure shout out to Casey wasn't.
You might have to take an engraver, bro.
Tight.
You might have to take an engraver.
Bro, I might shout out to Wyatt. IYK.
You might have to take an engraver.
This card, I think every deck will play this card. This card is nuts. There's no explanation. This card is crazy to send off Terahertz. I've never sent this card off Terahertz and it not be game because people are expecting Aggregator to negate. No, negating a body doesn't matter anymore because it turns into a Link monster that turns into a Needle Fiber, basically. Getting rid of the monster entirely is broken. And Code of Soul, didn't play it. I like the deck without Code of Soul. I didn't see... I had access to Code of Soul when I shifted them. Today I didn't see shifter as much, so I wish I had Code of Soul. It's one of those 50-50 things, but I'm more than likely sending the pack bit off of Terahertz instead of the Code of Soul. And there's not many Link 3s I'm making on their turn, so...
How many times did you full combo through shifter?
Through shifter?
Yeah. Like, did you use shifter as an assist?
I'm going
Like
to
alley-hoop?
tell
Did you
you.
alley hoop with the shifter?
Shifter, had I drawn Shifter more, I will say that the deck is just autopilot because then Link 1s turn into. Every Link 1 turns into a Splash Mage without locking you because then they just come back from the graveyard. You don't get their effects again, they're once per turn, but they just all become Splash Mages. And then when you link off the Link 3s into bigger monsters like the Firewall, because I will end my turn, since I'm under Shifter, I'm not Terahertzing you, I will end my turn with just Firewall, and then someone will come back and draw, and I at least have the bounce. And again, they're under Shifter. They're not killing you anyways. If it's the Fiendsmith cash like pile, like the Light Fiend cash pile, the game's over. You just it's not doing anything. They have to see cash cards, and then that is a bit annoying. They can't activate the Fiendsmith cards because they're under Shifter. If it's the Rise of Yell deck, I mean, depends on my background. But it's a little bit easier because they can't have the cross negate under Shifter, and but it never really happened to where I had a Shifter under, or I had a combo under Shifter against Rizal. It never really happened so often. I just didn't see Shifter as often as I would like to, but the deck performed well. There's no complaints other than like just variants, things that I can't play around. But yeah, if you pick this deck up, respect. Please, on God, respect Nib, whether it be through Link Spider, which I don't like, but you might like it, cross out, or I don't know, just SP. I mean, yeah, SP can dodge. SP's better going second against the Raziel deck because I could target my guy Engrave to banish it, and then like if I add back the Widow Anchor off of the Kagari, and I target their guy, and then I normal summon, you make, and like their effect gets negated, or it's like a Chessy Cat with no target, then you make SP, or if you get like impermed or something, like when you have Kagari on board and they don't imperm that and they imperm your normal summon, you make IP, banish the guy, make, bring it back, let's say a double impermer at a Veiler, then you aren't winning that anyways, and then you go into your Malice links, because these need 2 monsters, including a Malice monster. This one needs 3.
The Crbr, yeah.
So, I mean, as long as you are able to do that play, which is, again, that's the time where I'd say SP comes up more than Lizard Haggardos, but Lizard Haggardos was definitely the most, it was the more favorable one. But I don't think I'd change the extra. Just respect Nib. If you're going to change anything, respect Nib. I hate that card. And I hate Detonator. Have you read Detonator?
All right, man. Thank you for the deck profile.
Thank you,
bro.
Rennie.
Glad you made top 8, bro. You doing your thing.
Yeah, keep doing what you do, Rennie.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you.